Hey, everybody, happy Tuesday, and welcome back for day 70 of 100 days of Halloween. I hope you are well, and I hope you're having a great day. So, excuse me, I've done a bunch of recording today, and my throat's getting a little dry. So, 100 days of Halloween. What am I doing? Well, my lovely Yarny friend and sister Ranee over at the Woolly Llama shop had a brilliant idea that she discussed with several of us on a live back in July that she was wanting to do a fall Halloween themed blanket for the 100 days of Halloween that was quickly approaching. And her brilliant idea was to do a block a day for the 100 days approximately, um, meaning one block every day for 100 days, or well, she's had to pivot, which is cool. Um, and each square would have its own either theme, colorway, applique that was fall or Halloween or summerween. And at the end of all this, we're going to have an amazingly creative and fun filled blanket. So I decided it was a brilliant idea. I wanted to join in solidarity. And so I said, I'm in, let's do this. And she was very structured with how she wanted to do it at the beginning, anyways. And she had compiled this big long list by scouring the internet. And um, she found 100 blocks and appliques to draw at random from her Jinx jack-o'-lantern of joy. She has since found more and put them in her list. Um, and she draws at random pretty much every day, but Saturday and Sunday because she has long hours that she works. So on Fridays, she draws three. All of these are free patterns that are either a blog written pattern or a video tutorial. And you can either use them in a blanket like her and I are, or you can go rogue and do your own thing like Nova over at Nova Gnome Creations, one of our other Yarny friends and sisters. She is making wearables for herself and some near and dear littles in her life. And then we have our other Yarny sister, Patricia, over at the Yarny Cat Crochet, who has thrown caution to the wind and she's doing all different kinds of things. She has made a handbag. Then she turned around and surprised us with making a matching scarf. And then she turned around and surprised us and she's made an amigurumi. And as of the recording of this, she may have already dropped more videos as to something else she's done. I have no idea yet. I won't know until I get back from vacation. So, unless she tells me, but not as of the recording of this. So, Rainy drawing from her jack-o'-lantern of joy. I'm taking inspiration from some of the appliques and squares that she has drawn. I'm also taking inspiration from Nova. I'm taking inspiration from Patricia. I'm taking a lot of inspiration from you guys from suggestions and guesses that are going on that you guys want to see go on my random squares that I'm drawing out of the Boo Box of Fate. And I'm also taking inspiration from things I'm seeing while I'm out in the wilds or things I've seen on TV or on the internet, just any myriad of things. And I am actually grouping mine, and I'm losing what I was going to say. It's been a long day of recording, guys. Um, but I'm counting mine down in groups of 10. And once I have completed a group of 10, before they get fed to the blanket, um, I'm actually making a video short recap so that you guys can see them before I add them into the blanket. And we have already completed and done each group of 10 for numbers 1 through 60. And so this group of 10 that we've been working on while I've been on vacation is 61 through day 70, which is today, which completes another group of 10. So, yes, I will have to record a video short. But you will be seeing that once my vacation is over with, which is also when you guys are seeing this when my vacation is wrapping up. Hopefully I will be back tomorrow for day 71. Because we've only drawn squares through day 70 for, as Amy called it, my vacation granny square advent. So, yes. So, without further ado, let's do 61 through today, day 70, to complete this group of 10. I'm so excited. So, for day 61, and like you said, we've been drawing these squares out at random. And then these most of these days, but not when I was on vacation. You guys weren't well, if you are guessing while I'm on vacation, I will see those once I get back, and I will write down anything that hasn't already been suggested or guessed, and put it on my list for future inspiration, because I'm trying to put inspiration from you guys in my blanket, so you guys are part of my blanket as well, because this is going to be an awesome memory of, me and Ranee and Nova making these things, and then you guys with your suggestions and by putting them in there as well. So for day 61, we had drawn out one of the squares that I made from a whole skein of the Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo Stripes in the Brights. Yes, I used up a whole skein other than a smidgy bit. And I really liked how the colors were playing, and I haven't been covering most of these up. However, that little smidgy bit, if you guys hear thunder, um, that's why I've been trying to get all these done, because we are having storms like crazy for the last couple days, and they are going to be lasting through the day we were leaving for vacation. And so, and our power keeps flashing, keeps going in and out, internet keeps going out. So I'm trying to get all these done. That way I know they're done before I leave. So that you guys are seeing these while I'm gone. So that little smidgy bit that was left, because it wouldn't make a full square at the end of that skein, has been sitting next to my recliner screaming at me that it wanted to grow up and be something. And I actually, while perusing the internet, found a little applique called Candy Applique by the Caffeinated Snail. And it was just enough for me to make 3 of these little Halloween treat candies. I think I maybe had maybe this much of the yarn. I played yarn chicken, but I wanted to get as many candies out of that, what was left, right there. And so I chose to put them on this bright colored square because they were so fun and they matched it really well. And hey, why not? So there was that. And that was day 61. The information for the appliques is in the description box. Any of these others that is either a tutorial or a written pattern on somebody's blog will be credited with the information for where you can find it also in the description box for that day's square. So then for day 62, we had drawn out at random this sunset colored square that had a yellow center with these little orange specks, went to a bright orange and then a deeper orange. And then it went to this bright red and then a deep red. And it definitely was given like desert sunset vibes. And while perusing around and finding inspiration, because I was looking for something specific, but then I saw um, the thing for a tutorial for this super cute little, what she called silly bat. And I know I've already used a bat before, but it was an entirely different bat. And when I saw this one, I was like, I gotta try this one out, see if it's going to work on my square. And if it doesn't, I can always use it on a different square later for something else. And by the time I got it done and I laid it on there, it went up ding, 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 perfect. So that was what we put on. We put the silly little bat applique on there. And this video tutorial is by Butterfly Craft DIY. And like I said, it'll be in the description box for day 62. So there's that. Then for day 63 square, right before we left for vacation, we had pulled out purple. Yes, purple. And something that a bunch of you had been saying you wanted to see on some squares, and it kept popping up a lot. And I was like obsessed with trying to find either a tutorial or an applique. I couldn't find kind of what I had in my head. So I was like, Missy, you've been freehanding all this time. Just do it again. See what you can come up with. And I probably spent way more time on it than I probably should have. I probably could have completed about 20 squares if I'm going to be honest. Um, but I finally got it the way I wanted it with all the frogging and redoing. And then I would get a part done and then I had to nix that and redo it again and just to make everything fit right. So I finally did the alien and he's in his little UFO and I made a little planet and all it is a circle with some surface crochet, another little planet, some little stars and some streaking across the sky. Yes. And he's in a sparkly UFO. So, and he's a little stick figure alien. That was the best I could come up with for that small. So, but he's waving high as he drives through Missi's Yarniverse because after I got it done, I realized, and I know I showed this, but for those that are new, my project bags that I had Ranee make over at the Woolly Llama shop, her and her husband surprised me and came up with my logo right here. And then later on, I ordered project bags and it goes perfect with my Missy's Yarniverse logo. Yeah, I had to implement it into my blanket apparently. But I love it. I love the bags. They are so awesome. If you need project bags, reach out to Ranee. She is always in the description box. She can hook you up and you will absolutely love what her and her husband come up with. If you need a logo, look her up. Her embroidery shop, they do some amazing, they are magic with an embroidery machine. I cannot tout enough on those two. Um, Rainey, which is Mrs. Llama, and then her hubby, Mr. Llama. They are awesome. So, yes, our little alien with a UFO driving through Missy's Yarniverse for day 63. And then we started our vacation Granny Square Advent. And for the first day of vacation, we drew out at random this little square. And I'm going to put it like this only because over the last several days, I realized this looks like a black cat. And you guys know I'm obsessed with black kitties. But this is from the Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo Stripes in neon. And I chose to leave it blank because I love the color play, how the colors do. They're just so random, so vibrant. And I have a lot of these colors in my blanket. Plus, I have some appliques that I've already done a lot of work on that ended up being too big for just one square. And so I'm hoping that by strategically placing some of these in the blanket as I put it together, I can implement those two large appliques onto those. And then once I do that, I'm going to go back and show you guys. Yes, you will be seeing those. So there we go. Because I don't want to let that hard work go to waste. So that was day 64. And then, and I see this one has one of my hairs on it. Day 65. And these are from my vacation advent. We drew out purple yet again. And I took inspiration from a suggestion that had been given several times from two of you. And that was Rainey at the Woolly Llama Shop and Patricia over at Yarny Cat Crochet. And any of these ladies that I mentioned that have content, please go check them out if you don't already. They are super talented. They have a lot of great content and they are super creative. And I absolutely adore them. I love them. They are my Yarny sisters. And if you don't know them, I know you will love them just as much as I do. So, one of the suggestions that they have given me multiple times that they wanted to see, because it's synonymous with fall, is a candy apple. Um, although specifically, Patricia wanted to see a green apple caramel apple. So, yes, I made the Granny Smith apple with the caramel dip. And the apple itself is a pattern from the Unraveled Mitten. but the rest of it was freehanded. The caramel part, I actually took inspiration off of when we did the poison apple several weeks ago. Um, it's not exactly the same size or shape or whatever, so I had to tweak it. But as far as how to do the drippings from the caramel, that was how I took inspiration. And then, of course, the stick is free-handed as well. So yes, we did Patricia's green specific apple with the caramel, and Ranee wanted to see it as well. She just didn't specify whether she wanted red or green apple. So there was that for day 65. And then day 66, we drew out another of the Red Heart Super Saver in brights. And this one was super bright. It started off with orange, went to the fluorescent yellow, the fluorescent green, and then trimmed out in like that vibrant pumpkin orange. And as soon as I saw this square, I knew what I wanted to put on it because we hadn't done one yet in this go round of 10. And it wouldn't matter if we already did 3, honestly, because you guys know I am obsessed with black kitties. And this black kitty is the black cat crochet pattern from Golden Lucy Crafts. I knew once I put the little fluorescent green eyes in there that it was perfect. Perfect for this girl. Perfect. Get it? Anyway, you can tell I am a little it's been a long day of recording and I have probably lost my mind by now. So, anyhow, had to put the kitty on here. I love the black kitties. And anytime I can find a different black kitty that I haven't used yet, I am going to do it. Even I have also free-handed a couple. So, yeah. And if any of you guys see a black kitty I haven't used and it's a crochet applique, let me know because guess what? It'll go in my blanket. Email me a link to where you found it. I'm trying to use free, but yeah. So there's another black kitty. And like I said, this is from Golden Lucy Crafts, and that is day 66 square. And I think it is so pretty. And it looks like it has an attitude like, is that all you got, lady? Yeah. So, all right. Now down to day 67. We pulled out another of, and I don't know how we did this because we shake the crap out of the Boo Box of Fate. But it was another of the Red Heart Super Saver in brights. But it was just the fluorescent yellows and the greens. And I was trying to figure out what I was going to put on it because it was so bright. And I was like, do I do another black cat? But I didn't want to do 2 in a row. But I would have, because I'll put a cat on every square if I could. But I got to do something different. And so I was perusing the internet and I happened to see a blog post by Divine Debris. And it was for a candy corn handbag made out of squares that were candy corns. And on the candy corn handbag, they had made an applique, a cupcake applique, but they had turned that cupcake into a candy corn cupcake. And I was like, oh my goodness, I knew I wanted to do it. I was inspired by it. So I found the cupcake pattern on their blog. And it was just, I think the wrapper on the bottom was darker blue. And then the cupcake topper was like a very light pale blue with some sprinkles. So I used the cupcake pattern like they did for their inspired candy corn cupcake on the handbag. And I counted up the rows to figure out how I could evenly distribute the yellow, orange, and the white. And I gave it purple and black sprinkles. And that was what we did on our neon green and yellow Red Heart Super Saver Brights square in C2C. And I think it turned out super cute. Got to have the sweet treats. It's that time of year. So there we go. That was day 67. And like I said, Divine Debris cupcake pattern. It's in the description box. That brings us to day 68. And that square we had drawn a couple weeks ago when I was getting my vacation advent ready was this green. And I was trying to figure out what to put on it. And I was kind of rummaging through my little cardboard. It's a small cardboard box that's got some appliques in it that are done and ready and waiting, and some that are not done that were just kind of a thought, a creative inspiration I got, but they just aren't ready for a square yet, or the perfect square, or they're too big for a square. And there is one certain group of patterns that I had found by the Caffeinated Snail when we first started this. And it was a group of 5. And it's little ghosties, and they're dressed like they're trick or treating in costume. We've already done the Franken ghosty. He was the first one because he was so stinking cute. And then we did the pumpkin ghosty where it's holding a pumpkin, but I did additional ones so it looks like the ghosty's in a pumpkin patch. And then the third one is the witch ghosty. And I remembered the kawaii eyes this time. The last one I didn't, but that's okay. And for those of you who are new here, yes, you cannot feel the safety eyes on the back because I melt them down. So they're in there and you can't feel them. And I gave it a purple little witchy hat with the little black band. There are 2 more to this set. I already have those up, worked up. They're just in waiting in the little cardboard box of inspiration. One is a little ghosty with bat wings for a vampire, and then the other one is a little pirate. And I wanted to make sure that all 5 of these get put in my blanket because they're a set and they are so stinking cute. And I love these. Caffeinated Snails got some really cute. Well, a lot of people do, but these ones were some of the first ones I found, and I thought they were absolutely darling. And I knew I wanted to have all 5 of them in my blanket at some point. So that was the third one of the group. So we only have 2 more to fit in the next 30 days. So there we go. That is the witch ghost. And then that leads us up to day 69, which was yesterday. And we drew out another one at random from the Red Heart Super Saver and Brights, but it happened to be the portion that was that deeper, like a fluorescent fuchsia that transitions into this deeper, like purple fuchsia mix up to a grape that goes to like a midnight purple and then to black. And like the one in the neon stripes, for this one in brights, I decided to leave it blank because I know I can use some of these squares strategically placed when I add them in to add on some of those appliques that are too large for just one square. That is probably going to take up 2 squares. Yeah. And so we left her blank like most of the other ones. And even the smaller appliques that I have done, once we are getting close to being done, the ones that I know are not going to go on a specific square, I'm going to implement them on squares that they will go well with without covering up too much. Because I put a lot of hard work into those that are already done or almost done, and I don't want them to go to waste. So they will be used, and we will cover those when that time happens. So that was day 69 for yesterday. So that leads us to today, to day 70. Whew. It's been a week, hasn't it? And by now, I should be getting home from vacation. So hopefully, you will see me yeah, tomorrow. And hopefully, I'm not too tired. So, day 70 square. We did a few of these in different, they're multicolored and you've seen them before. And the pattern is actually by Underground Crafter. And I thought it was super cool and it went real well with some of their Serdar spiral squares that we did. And it is the concentric circles granny square. And I did them all different with the alternating colors in different mixed up differently. And this one just happens to start with the orange, goes to the like vibrant grape purple, and then goes to that neon green, and then goes to sparkly black, and then starts all over again with the orange, goes to the purple, and then back out to the neon green. And I love this pattern. I think it turns out super cool. I think the last one we did started with the black in the center, and Sam and I both thought it looked like a monster eye or an ogre eye. So we left it alone. And I think these are super cool. And by putting an applique on it, it's going to kind of take away from it. So it kind of breaks up all the busyness of all the appliques because these are busy on their own. So that was day 70 square. This is the last one we drew for my vacation Granny Square Advent. So, yeah. So, I don't know if we should draw out a square for me to be working on for my first day back recording after vacation. I think we do. I think we shall. We shall draw out a square for me to work on. So, there we go. That's day 70, concentric circles, underground crafter. Links in the description box. So, guys, that ends this group of 10. Look at all those beautiful colors. So, so pretty. So now I'll have to record a video recap to get it uploaded before they can be added into my blanket. The last 10 as of this recording, because I had so much recording to do and getting those squares ready. I have not included the squares from 51 through 60 yet. And now I have these, and there was a few left over from the one prior because I ended my row. So let's take a look. Because probably by the next time you guys see this, after I get back, we will have added some squares. And currently we are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 going up and 9 going across because, yes, I am putting this together in a C2C fashion. And once we have one more row to make it 10 across and 10 up and down, we will be doing our decrease all the way till the end. So let me scoot back. And this is where we're at. And it's getting harder and harder to show because it's getting so big. I think this looks super cool. And there's our little witchy hat in the very bottom corner. That was our first square that we started with. And we go over all the way to here. And so when I start, I will be, oh, sorry. I will be starting here and working my way up. And for those of you who are new, I am using the Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo in the bright stripes because I have so much of this color in there, and this just set off the join by the colors transitioning. And by me doing it as C2C, if I'm adding the whole entire row, I only have 2 ends to weave in for however many squares are going instead of in between each individual one and then joining each. Yeah, that was going to be 50 million squares. So I decided to do C2C so that I would only have my beginning end to weave in and the very end on where we ended off on that row. And that is making it so much fun. And the join I'm using is the zigzag slip stitch, which is giving it some really cool texture in between. And it doesn't stick up hardly at all. It's pretty flat because it's a slip stitch, but it gives it a really cool effect, especially with the changes in the color and all that. It's really making all these squares pop. And I'm so glad I decided to do this. I saw that join on one of Sam from Memphis Makes videos. And I was like, that's perfect. I'm going to use that to join granny squares. And then this project came up, and it's the first time I've been using it. She saw it on one of Christina from Bella Uncinetto had, I can't remember, I missed that video somewhere. I can't remember if she said that Christina had shared the tutorial or something, but it is perfect. And I do intend on using this on most of the granny square blankets that I do from now on, because we all know a lot of people don't like doing granny squares because you got to join them all. And then those of us who do love doing granny squares, we loathe having to put them together because it's such an undertaking. This is making it a joy. It is not a job to put these together, and it is so much fun. And it gives it so much, it just adds to it. And I think it's super cool. So, yeah, guys, that's the last sneaky peek before we add more squares. Because I think at this point, with this group of 10 right here, and the last group of 10, and then the ones that were left over, we've got a little over 20 squares that can go into the blanket. And I probably have enough to do 2 rows. So, hopefully I can get to them by the time I get back from vacation. If not, we will be seeing it shortly thereafter I'm back. So, I guess with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you for joining me and spending part of my vacation with me, even though you guys weren't there with me, but and I'll be able to tell you all about it when I get back. So probably tomorrow. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go and come back tomorrow for day 71. Yes, 71. We only have 30 days left of this, guys. 30 days. Wow. I cannot believe it. Unbelievable. So I love you guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.